Okay. So this experiment consists of two parts, as mentioned in the words. Okay, that the scientists first do run this setup for around 50 minutes without any oxygen, and then he adds oxygen into the experimental solution and let the setup run for another 50 minutes. Okay, so the setup, what's the aim of the setup? So let's take a look. From the words, you know that the scientist wants to investigate the effect of things on both. Okay, so the first thing, growth of the coleoptiles. So the first thing that you need to think about is what to measure. Now you know adding oxygen, not adding oxygen, that's the independent variable. But how can you measure the growth of coleoptile? If you're not sure, then think about the previous scientists. All right, they put maybe the first thing that you think of should be a ruler, right? Should be a ruler. So why bother this complicated setup? So that's one question you have to ask. Okay. Another question is, all right, now by your knowledge, you know the coleoptile would grow up. So the coleoptiles are here, right? So you need to have the ability to predict what will happen to the setup. So now each of them will become longer, slightly longer. This would push up the metal weight. Okay, this would push up the metal weight. But how does it correlate with the fin? So this is the most difficult information. So let's take a look. This passage says that when there's light, it is black. Okay, so this is the most important message. So then if you look at the results, now you understand this area means that light is exposed. Light can reach this film. So why is there a white area here in the film? Okay, that's question number one. Question number two is, how come this film can tell time? Okay, so this is the most difficult to understand. So let me switch to a whiteboard. All right, let me switch to a whiteboard and I'll draw to you how it works. So here is the film, and here is the light source. And there's something in between, right? So imagine the light hits a certain area of the film. And let's say the size of the film is now exactly this range. Okay. So in this scenario, what will happen to the film? Is it black? Is it white? Is it all black? Is it all white? Partly black, partly white. C 班 N 班答 chat room. There's nothing in the middle. Nothing in the middle. All right. There's a light source now directing the light onto the film. Is it all black, all white, partly black, or partly white?人哋答咗你都要答 is to show me that you understand。唔知就 I don't know。唔好等我以為你瞓着咗。So all black, right? So from this case, you already can tell one thing. What does it tell you if there is a certain white area in the film? It must mean that there is something in the middle that blocks the light, right? So now let's match with the setup. Above the coleoptile, there's a metal weight. The purpose of this metal is to block light. All right. But the trick is it doesn't block all the light. So imagine I have the same story. All right. I have the same story. That light is shining through. But now you can see this line doesn't work because this light ray is blocked, right? So I cannot draw it in this way anymore. This is blocked. But the film is of the similar size as case 1, all right? So this time, how will the film look like? All black, all white, partly black, and white. Which one is the answer? All black, all white, partly black, partly white. And particularly, you will know it should be the lower part, all right? That is going to be white. So let me show you how it works, okay? So but this part would be white. 菲林就係咁噶啦，其實呢個你都要當常識咁記咗佢。菲林遇光就會變黑，菲林冇遇過到光嘅地方就係白色。所以係咯，就係咁樣。算啦，唔講菲林相機，你都冇感受，你都唔識。但係菲林相機係一樣原理啫嘛。OK， 明唔明？ So because you are going to measure growth, right? So we have to imagine a case. You can imagine that the coleoptile is going to grow longer. Okay? So same case here. But the coleoptile is going to grow longer. And that means the metal weight would be even higher. Right? And the coleoptiles too. So of course this is exaggerated, but then it means, again, there is a large part of light that is being blocked. So can you now tell me in chat room, how would the film look different? How would the film look different? And imagine the film is of the same size as usual. All right, so you can share your answer now. How would this differ? Of course, now you understand it's partly black, partly white, just like case 2. But how does this different from case 2? So it would be having more white area, okay? Correct. So it would have, again, there's only black and upper part black, but that black area would be much less. While the lower white part would be much more. Okay? So that is how you read the film. And this is how this experiment used the film as a way to measure the growth of the coleoptile. How can I know whether the coleoptile grows more or grows less? Can you give me a correlation now? What should I check? What's the general correlation created here? 而家你明唔明白個 film 同個 coleoptile growth 有啲咩關係咧？我想請 B 班嘅同學打答案。So set up a correlation between the growth of the coleoptile and the film, and you have to be careful 嗰個因果關係啊！你嘅答案裏面，你打咗先 ，OK？ All right, so when there's more growth of the coleoptile, then their weight move higher, just like here, and then it blocks more light, so that there will be a larger white area in the film. And this is how you integrate the information, all right, of the question to explain part A. Okay, so now go part A. Go back to the document, the notes. So right answer A now. You're sure you're right, am I? As time passes by, as the coleoptile grows or elongates, they push up the metal weight. So more light is blocked. So now try to answer B. So remember, for these questions, describe the results first. Okay? So what I want you to do is describe the result first, all right? Before you give me any explanation. So let's do this, okay? C 班、N 班，你而家試下 describe 個 result 俾我睇先 ，OK？ 打字落去個 chat room 度，唔好 send 出嚟住 ，OK？ 我今日教完呢條對埋功課就完啦。So part B. So that means you have to look at this part, right? 係嘛？擺明係睇50分鐘後嘅嘢啦。So how would you describe the result? 好，打得 send 得 send 得 send 得，一句啫，應該1、2句搞掂啦。describe 到我唔使 explain 住喎。好，未 send 嗰啲我唔知你係咪認真 send 緊啦。咁如果你唔係嘅，你就睇下呢度啦。好啦，如果我咁答咧，嗱我冇話我啱嘛？你覺得呢個可唔可以接受咧？嗱 ，compare with 例如 Eric 啊、Ernie 啊 send 出嚟嘅答案，你就會發覺咧，而家你就明白，你淨係話個 white area 變，錄翻先，錄緊，你淨係話個 white area 變大咧冇意思 ，because even if you don't add IAA。The white area is also increasing, meaning that the coleoptile is also expanding on their own. Maybe this is just due to absorption of water. Maybe they will automatically expand a little bit, right? So to showcase the effect of IAA, you must stress that this is increasing at a faster rate, at a great extent, blah, blah, blah. Okay, so these, now you understand why these words are important and they are doing very good. So this is good. Okay, so now you understand it is important to tell this one is increasing faster. And the explanation, of course, is using the information is A. In A, it's the same. You just need to add those words to describe that something is going faster, so the extent is going greater. So let's work together, okay? So describe, right? So you can see that, or you can say that the white area increases, the size of the white area increases by a greater extent or at a faster rate because you have time at the x-axis, right? So you can tell the rate after adding IAA. So why? That means the second sentence, you are going to talk about the function of the IAA. Okay, you have to tell me what does the IAA or auxin do. So, or promotes, okay? Growth or elongation, as you like. 咁有時我覺得，既然講緊長度，咁啊集中啲講。So when they elongate faster， 第三點就係、咁 elongate faster 同嗰啲光啊、黑啊、白啊有咩關係咧？咁就係 A 嗰度啦。OK， 平時 metal weight is push up， 而家就係 push up faster， 係嘛？ Sorry, push up faster and blocks more light. 得啦。So before we talk about the answer for C, let's address something that Eric and Chloe mentioned. Okay, so they say that when they look at the result, they also say that after addition of IAA, the white area becomes greater than the black area. This comparison, I think, all right, in this experiment is not important because you care about how big the white area is. The black area actually doesn't mean anything. It only means something, those areas remaining in the film, not blocked. All right. So the comparison of black and white relative size is which one is bigger is not important. All right. So for C, now everybody understands you have to do two things. One is about the IV. All right. You have to do something to the independent variable. So that's why all of you can answer correctly that you have to use different or repeat the experiment with different IAA concentration in the experimental solution. All right. So the way that you write this, you don't need to worry about it. Okay. Christy says low, high, very high is all right as long as I can understand. All right. But Christy, you can know that this one, the one that I write, is covering more a broader sense. Okay. So any concentration that you want, all right, just put it there. What everybody is not writing very good is the way to read the measurement. So a lot of students can, of course, quickly write that you have to measure the size of white area the film, right? Measure the dependent variable. But there's a trick. If you write this, that is wrong. Not complete, I would say. Imagine this. So I use a low IA concentration and a high IA concentration. So you expect the high IA concentration would give you a larger white area, right? But what if I do this? Okay, I use a low concentration of IA. I measure the area after 10 minutes. I use high concentration of IA. I measure the size of white area after 1 minute. You see, that's not fair, right? That's not fair. you actually, I think your mind knows that when you compare this white area, you need to compare the same time, okay? So this is something that a lot of you missed, not only Patrick. 例如你就指名道姓好啦，大家都係度50分鐘後嘅，即係例如你要跟住要同翻呢個 data 比喎，咁你一個度10分鐘，一個度20分鐘，一個度即係另外一種 concentration 讀30分鐘，咁成件事就冇意思啦，係嘛？咁所以喺呢度咧，個 same period of time 呢個字咧好重要啊。OK， 明唔明 ？Ernie 之所以冇呢個問題咧，因為 rate 係 per time 噶嘛 ，rate 嘅定義就係 the white area increasing in per a certain period of time 啊，所以 rate 呢個字咧就已經有 same period of time 嘅呢個意味噶啦。好，大家做 D1啊，我一路寫咗答案俾你對，應該好易嘅啫。你要知道啲答案喺邊度嚟啊。So you have to say is the presence of oxidants or IA。即係個問題唔係 IAA 嘅 ，Chloe， 你問題唔係你寫咗 IAA， 個問題係 you do not have the word presence of because if you say it's IAA， so am I talking about the concentration or the presence, right? So this experiment seems to be only talking about the presence。OK， 即係有與冇之間嘅分別啫嘛。所以記住呢啲題目要諗清楚，有時你唔可以咁樣寫。OK， 好，繼續。B 班個 dependent variable。好，停得啦，就睇下個 screen 啦喎。Athena 啱定係其他人啱咧？M 班嘅人投票好嘛？Athena 嗰個係 correct 定 wrong 咧？你對比起其他人嘅答案。M 班嗱，你睇到 Athena 嘅答案，你睇到 Phoebe、Vincent、Patrick、Percy 嘅答案係差唔多嘅意思㗎嘛？係咪？邊個啱咧？你唔好見到 Percy 答就覺得啱，你唔好覺得其他人多就係啱先得㗎。除非 Athena 你唔知道自己點解咁答。再教一次啊！嗱，呢啲嘢咧其實一定係之前啲 chapter 講過嘅，只係要不停重複又重複又重複咁提。Anything about the white area is wrong. Anything about the white area is wrong. The variables are read by reading the aim. 我都後悔自己 highlight 得早咗，但係你都睇唔出，咁啊真係大劑啊真係。Okay, so Athena is right. and the others are wrong. So learn this. What the others talking about when they say the increase in white area, it's a measurement. Okay? So the growth of coleoptile, that is the dV here, is actually, when you talk about the white area, is a way to measure the growth of coleoptile. That means eventually what you care is the growth rate of the coleoptile. And you're now very good that you know somebody is even better that they write after the same period of time 啦，仲係有人唔得嘅，就咁 white area 嗰啲就炒梗嘅。即係如果你冇咗 time 嗰個 factor 嘅話，得唔得啊？咁啊 Fina 你睇完又翻轉頭話自己錯，咁啊大劑啦。
但係即係 growth rate of coleoptile 唔係咁容易俾人睇到噶嘛。
所以你正係你 care 啊嘛，你講得好啱啊。growth rate 就係一樣不可以直接觀察到嘅嘢，你講得好啱呢句説話。但係你正最後 care 就係呢樣嘢啊嘛，所以你就要揾一個容易觀察嘅方法去 measure 呢一個你睇唔到但係你最 care 嘅嘢。咁所以你越觀就係嚟反映翻個 done variable 點樣變化。OK， 你講得好啱㗎，其實你嘅嘢係啱㗎，你只要補埋頭先我後面講嗰句就得㗎啦。而且我再補多句啊，有時係同一樣嘅，有時係同一樣嘅，即係有時 dependent variable 同 measurement 可以係一樣嘅，有時係可以唔同嘅。你點知咧？你就只可以睇個 aim， 個 aim 就話俾你聽嗰個你最終極 care 嘅是什麼 dependent variable。好啦，如果個 dependent variable 咁巧係一樣可以直接觀察到嘅嘢，咁個 dependent variable 同個 measurement 咪同一樣咯。但係如果好似呢個 case， 好似你話齋，當個 dependent variable 就係一樣我唔能夠直接量度嘅嘢嘅時候，我就需要用一啲方法去反映，係咪啊？咁你講得好啱啊！係啊 ，OK， 我用間尺都得㗎，我用間尺量度佢長度變化，咪又係一種 measurement 咯，係第二種 measurement 咯。但係個 aim 寫住我想睇嘅係個 growth of coleoptile， 咁嗰個係你最終極想知嘅 dependent variable。OK， so after identifying what is the measurement, you have to be able to explain, okay, why this measurement can tell the dependent variable. That means in this case, why the white area can tell the growth rate. Okay. So the answer, the explanation is the same as part A. So you just have to tell me that when the coleoptile elongates, the metal weight rises. So that more light is blocked. From the film, right? So this is exactly part A. Right? This is exactly part A. So what's remaining? The last part is the correlation. 嗱呢度就重要啦。意思係咩咧？你話個 white area 可以反映個 growth rate，但係你冇話俾我聽 嗰個關係喎，即係到底 white area 越大係代表佢生得越快定越慢咧？今次係咩啊？今次係 size of area 越大就反映個 growth rate 係越快噶嘛？喂，但係我係白痴仔嚟噶嘛，我唔知噶嘛。你嘅 explanation 就要解埋俾我聽，佢哋之間嘅關係係當佢越大，另外嗰個都係代表佢越大咁樣咯。OK，咁呢個你分任何次序寫都得嘅，即係你中意寫邊個先都得嘅。哦，你中意寫因為white area 越大就代表 growth rate 越大又得。你中意寫如果 growth rate 越快，個 white area 將會越大，咁冇問題個邏輯。OK， 哇。So part E is about 1 versus 6 coleoptile. So you first have to address the problem of 1 coleoptile, and then address how come the 6 coleoptiles can solve the problem. Okay, so the elongation in 1 coleoptile is too little. Therefore, using 6 coleoptiles can make the change in length more obvious or more significant. 係因為呢兩嘢夾埋，所以 the result will be more accurate 嘅啫，明唔明？因為我哋度細微嘅轉變係好難度噶嘛，明唔明啊 ？OK， 咁你唔可以就咁一句懟個 more accurate 出嚟啦。OK， 咁而家寫埋佢啦，好嘛？Yes. The reason for using metal weight for F, one is to block light. The second reason is that is to prevent the coleoptiles from floating up. Because you are using a lot of small coleoptiles in a tube full of solution, right? In a tube full of solution. So you can imagine without anything pressing them down a little bit, those coleoptiles will move around, float around. Okay? That's not what you want. So that's F. Okay? 得唔得？好，停晒你手上嘅嘢，我哋去睇 G 啊。G 好難，所以一定要停晒手先，唔好抄住啦。OK， 睇一睇 G 嘅題目先。我覺得你明，我驚你唔明啊。我俾一 To explain the idea of calibration, you need to understand two things. First, this white area. Let's say this area. 你唔好寫落你 notes 啊，會亂㗎。So let's say this area is 2 cm in length. Okay. On the film, does it mean that the coleoptile really grows by 2 cm? Yes or no? Type in the checkbox. OK， 我俾個提示你啊，有冇玩咗木偶戲啊？有冇玩咗啲皮影戲啊？你喺個幕後面整啲手扮隻兔仔、扮隻雀仔打個影，個影嘅大細同你隻手嘅實際大細係咪一樣嘅？我諗大家都會開始意識到 no 啦。Take a look at this, right? So there is a projection here at angles, 係嘛？ So you can see the size in the film doesn't equal to the actual change in the length. We still take this as a very useful measurement because they are correlated. So the larger the larger the white area really means the longer the coleoptile has grown. The correlation stands, but numerically they are not the same. So that means if the film really have a white area of 2 cm, the elongation in the coleoptile is actually much shorter. Can you see? All right. But sometimes I want the actual numbers. All right. I want to know actually how long has the coleoptile been grown. This y-axis is an actual number. Can you see? It's the actual elongation. So first of all, do you now understand these numbers? This mm is not exactly the length in the film. Do you now understand? So how can we tell the actual size? By a step called calibration. So what is calibration doing? Calibration is doing something like this. So we are trying to take a look at this. So when calibration is trying to establish the mathematical relationship of these two. So let's say if I intentionally move the weight by 1 mm, then I find out that the size of the white area is 2 cm. And when I move the metal weight by 2 mm, then I measure that the size of white area is 4 cm. So these are what done in calibration step. Okay. So what if now I find out that now I really do the experiment? So calibration is not part of the experiment. Calibration should happen before an experiment. You are trying to calibrate that setup. So now during experiment, I really get a result that the white area is 8 cm. This is something that I can measure, right? So how can I tell this? Can I tell the answer? I think you should know that this is 4 mm, right? But now then it means this calibration, 你話 reference 或者 Patrick 話揾個 ratio for reference 都係啱嘅，但係句説話嗰個 term 有啲含糊，就倒不如將個事實講出嚟，即係平白啲講出嚟就仲穩陣啊！你個答案。So this is to allow us to find the actual elongation from the size of the white area or the length. Okay, sorry，呢度個題目係用咗 length 呢個字啊。The length of white area. Okay. because this metal weight here actually represents the actual elongation. 好啦，請你睇埋呢度先寫得唔得？我唔想阻你時間，你睇埋呢度好嘛？睇咗先。咁即係話，如果你諗真啲 ，during calibration， 我係 intentionally use 喐嗰個 metal weight 去，然之後去度嗰個 size of white area 或者個 length of white area。我做完 calibration 咧，我要應用個 calibration， 就係我去度個 size of 或者 length of white area， 從而想透過我喺 calibration 所做到嘅嗰個 ratio 咧，可能係一個 linear ratio， 可能係一條 curve 都唔頂嘅。但係無論如何，我用嗰條 curve 又好，用嗰個ratio 又好 ，I can use that ratio or standard curve to find the actual elongation。所以我覺得呢個箭嘴會幫你理解多啲嘅。我其實係用邊個去揾邊個。OK。